Hey friends, Peggy Hall back with you from thehealthyamerican.org. Welcome to my virtual living room. I am out of town because I had a speaking engagement with the Women's Republican Federated Party in Conejo Valley. Anyway, it was a fantastic group, very conservative, very dedicated patriots, very active, connected, educated, knowledgeable. It was fantastic. And anyhow, I have a virtual background because where I'm filming just doesn't really lend itself to a set. And we are closing out the week here. We had some amazing comments from you, my lovely healthy Americans, about breaking news that's going on. We talked about people and animals and helicopters dropping like flies. And I encourage everyone to go back and watch those videos about the sudden adult death syndrome. There are so many heart-wrenching comments about people that have lost loved ones. And it's so infuriating to me because it's like, didn't they know better? And it's truly heartbreaking, but it's so important that we know what's going on. So a lot of hard-hitting videos this week. I want to leave on a little bit of a lighthearted note, I guess. And my question, and this is something that came up in the event last night, and I've been talking with family members about, and dear friends, is what is your last straw? We just met up with a lovely, healthy American that is from California, has lived in California most of his life. And he moved to Florida for a job opportunity thinking, this is going to be the land of milk and honey. Florida's going to be amazing. This job's going to be incredible. I'm going to experience freedom. And the truth is, there is a lot of freedom there. And he was able to, and has been able to, go into shops and restaurants and grocery stores and any public accommodation, except of course for medical. They are still being rather tyrannical with their requirements. Yet he said just the vibe is so much more open and free. However, there are so many things that he misses about California, and he felt convicted in that he didn't want to feel as though he had just fled and he didn't stay to fight. So he's still determining whether or not he's going to return to California. There is so much good in California. Of course, the politics are horrible. But the question that I have, and the question that I'm posing for you all, is what is your last straw? Have you, let me know in a comment below, have you already left California? Or let's say, have you left New York? Fill in the blank. Have you left Oregon or Washington or Hawaii? Those are very, very shut down states. Connecticut, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, they have been horrible. I'd like to know, have you already left? Did you already reach your final straw? Even prior to all of the hogwash, as I call it, there were families in California that left California because their last straw was the requirement for their kids to be human pincushions in order to attend school. And this was long before the cooties. They required these other needles in order to go to school, and many families fled California in 2019, even in 2015, when all of these other outrageous laws were put into place. Now, I don't have kids in school, so that didn't affect me as much. But I remember thinking in my jobs, what would be my last straw? And working for the government and working for government schools and working for universities and colleges, I said to my husband very clearly, my last straw would be if they ever required the needle. And this is far before the hogwash and the cooties. And I remember saying, I will never comply. It will be a no-brainer for me to leave my job. But what about leaving your state? I am a lifelong Californian. I have lived actually in other places. I've lived in other cities in California, several cities in California, Northern California, Northern California, Central California, Southern California, many different cities. And then I've lived overseas in Europe and Morocco, as many of you know, but I always consider California home. And I feel conflicted in many ways because there may be other opportunities in other states where you could be more free, where you don't have to continually fight this, or you could fight it from a distance. I know lovely, healthy Americans that have left California and now they live in Tennessee and Oklahoma and Idaho, and they are still fighting for California, even though they're in another state. They are still making the phone calls, writing the letters, staying up to date. So it doesn't have to be either or. I want to know from you specifically, directly, with an example, what is your last straw? Now, my husband, Pastor David, and I have been talking about this at great length because we are committed to staying in California. Our heart and soul are here. We want to fight for California. We don't want to feel as though we've been pushed out, edged out, marginalized, like we turned around and fled. That is one way of looking at it. Of course, there's always different perspectives. You could look at it as being very smart, that you didn't stay with the enemy, that you're not consorting with the enemy or staying in an abusive relationship. That's another way of looking at it, certainly. There are some things that are very, very powerful that would really push people out of California. One of them, we'll talk about a few of them. And again, I really want to read your comments. One of those things are the extremely high corporate and personal tax rates. In Florida, there are no personal income taxes. So if someone is paying, I'm just going to say $50,000 in taxes in California for their personal income tax, or maybe they have a small business and they are taxed on their business profits on their personal income tax. Imagine they live in Florida and the personal income tax is zero. So over a period of 10 years, that's $500,000. That's $500,000 in savings. You could buy a house, you could start a business, you could hire other people, you could invest. And that's astonishing to me. And that's only 10 years. So that is huge for many people. I just read that the Hormel meat packing company, which many Californians are glad is leaving because of their atrocious torture and cruelty to animals, it's leaving for Texas because the business environment in California is so onerous. I think that's another reason people leave California, especially business owners or property owners. They would rather own property in another state where you're not so strangled. One of my family members ordered something online from Etsy, and it was a drinking mug, just like a coffee mug, but it was hand painted. It was really beautiful. And it said that it could not be shipped to California because of the, whatever the propositions that they have in California that prevent certain items from being sold in California. She's like, you gotta be kidding me. I could live in Nevada and buy this coffee cup, because apparently whatever's in the coffee cup isn't going to kill me in Nevada, but it's going to kill me in California. So there are all sorts of other regulations, regulatory things that just strangle California. California and San Diego County in particular in California are pushing to be zero emission states and counties. It's like, there's no such thing as zero emission. And I'm going to talk about that when I talk about electric vehicles. Where do you think the energy for the electricity comes from? It's not zero emissions. That's burned by coal and gas, petroleum, very much smaller, maybe 3% with solar and wind. It's not zero emission. The whole thing is ridiculous. But for many people, these energy policies also drive them out of California. It's absolutely, it's strangulation, it's suffocation. It's not only suffocation with the visible suffocation devices, but with all of these, carbon neutral policies, which is ridiculous. Carbon is the most necessary molecule of life. Carbon is what allows trees and plants to grow. We're made of carbon. I mean, it's like they were telling you not to breathe oxygen because that's bad for you. So now they're telling us not to have carbon because it's bad for us. That will be a topic for another day. What really, I think my last straw is, or would be, these egregious laws that are being passed or proposed to be passed. And then my tax dollars are going to support this state. That's pretty difficult to stomach. I need a vomit bucket for that. Because when I think that this state is intending and pushing for murder, which cannot be investigated, or let me say potential murders or possible murders. So you know what I'm talking about, that Bill 233, which prevents any law enforcement from conducting an investigation of any infant death. Are you okay with that? You're okay with that? Yeah, I'm not okay with that. Up to however many, they don't even give an endpoint. So things like this, wanting to push this, baby sacrifice and have it enshrined in our state government, that's very evil. That is a hard one for me to stomach, I have to admit. And I'm on record to say I'm not planning on leaving California, but that one's like beyond evil. And for me to know that my tax dollars are supporting these abortions, Yeah, that would have to be on the list of the last straw. What say you? How about lowering the age of medical consent to a 12-year-old? Although because of your pressure and letters and phone calls, and I've been emailing you about that on the newsletter and making videos and posting on social media, thanks to all of my other colleagues that have been working very hard on this, they did vote to raise the age to 15. That bill still not has been approved in the assembly. They probably are going to vote on that on Monday. And it's not a better bill. Saying a 15-year-old can make these decisions, they're still not an adult. So in California, you have to be 18, you have to be an adult in order to use a tanning booth, because it might be harmful for your health. But becoming a human pincushion, don't worry about that. Killing a baby, it's certainly not harmful for anyone's health. You can get an abortion in California at the age of 12 without any parental consent or knowledge. Yeah, it's really, really hard, isn't it? The water moratoriums now, the shutting off of water, that's a hard one as well. So, when they shut off the water, then that instantly translates to the food. Now, I'll stay in California with the $10 a gallon gasoline. That's not my last straw, all right? It's ridiculous. The gas prices do fluctuate. I do believe and predict that they will go over $10 a gallon. I just did a video about that, the real reason for the jacked up gas prices. I hope that you'll watch that. There's a lot of side effects that they're pushing on that. But they already are fining people or threatening to fine people if they see that their grass is green or something. And it's ridiculous. So maybe one of the tipping points, the last straw for me, would be if they make everyone drain their swimming pools and they close all of the public swimming pools. I don't think I could live in a state like that. Seriously. I mean, and I am serious about that. So let me know. I'm going to take a look at your comments. What is your last straw? What was your last straw? Did you leave California? Where did you go? Is there a place better? I've heard from people in Idaho, in Tennessee, in Missouri, who are being discriminated against on the job, in school, with medical care. So is there any place that is safe? Let me know, especially those of you that live outside of the United States. Who lives in Mexico? Who lives in Panama? Who lives in Ecuador, or Costa Rica, or Belize, or Europe? Or where is it better than California? And where is it better than the United States? Marcia does not want to move, but is very tired of the politics and what might be in the future, possibly moving closer to friends and family. I think that's a huge one, Marcia. I think a lot of people that have left California have gone to be with family members in other areas. I know whole entire families and extended families and sisters and cousins and aunts and uncles and grandparents that all moved to Oklahoma, and they kind of have their own compound because they want to literally weather the storm outside of California. And there are a lot of storms in Oklahoma. So, and if you are in Florida, let me know where you are in Florida, why you decided to leave your state and go there. And then I'm going to do another video coming up about, is Florida a trap? I'm very curious about that. So let me read a couple of more comments. And then Mark is in the People's Republic of Maryland. Is it really bad there, Mark? What is going on there? Mary said that she is at her last straw right now. And Kitty Cat says that overriding Prop 13, which is our property tax limits, will already be a financial disaster. And they already have overridden that, Mary. They in a certain way, especially children that are inheriting property from their deceased parents, they have to pay the full property tax on it. So let's see. John lives in Missouri. He doesn't care about being on the coast. Matthew kind of is with me. The last straw is that they want to inject the babies with the cooties. It's so heinous. It's difficult for me to speak about that topic, friends. I did a video about that earlier saying I was never going to be talking about cooties because it's so despicable to me. It's very, very difficult to talk about. Mary left 25 years ago. Where did you go, Mary? I want to know. Please let me know. Rachel is in Florida, went to a new eye doctor. They still want the face suffocations. Yep. You got to do what you got to do there, Rachel. It's so troubling. Let's see what else we have. Yeah. Mary is going to fight to her death. That's what I say, Mary. I'm going to march it all the way to heaven. She's in Tennessee. The properties have skyrocketed. Not many houses left to buy. Or I don't know if she is in Tennessee, but she's saying that the Tennessee properties have skyrocketed. That's the other thing. People have said in Florida, in Idaho, in Tennessee, in Texas, because everyone's leaving California. And, you know, like a 2-bedroom condominium is basically worth $1 million. You can just buy, you can pay whatever you need to these places, and the properties are skyrocketing. So Rachel, I hope everything goes well with your eye. Please keep me posted on that. We're eye buddies here with our retinal issues. JP has never complied. I think he said complained, but I think he means complied. Yeah, and he's in LA. Matthew says there is nowhere to go. Yeah, it is troubling, isn't it? I never really thought it would come to this. And then, let's see. Donna is getting out of California, going to Arkansas. Donna, I think others will be curious as well. What is the allure in Arkansas? Please tell us more. Trisha got out of Illinois because of the laws. Where did you go? I want to hear where everybody went. Kitty Cat said in Marin County, for those of you that don't know, it's one of the most communistic and most gorgeous, absolutely stunningly, breathtakingly beautiful places in California, increased all of the taxes. I don't know what's wrong with people, or maybe it's just corruption. Maybe they didn't really vote to do that. Hey, Cindy, I've been teaching on the laws for a couple of years. Thanks for that. Marcia does not want to move, but is very tired of the politics. Let's see. Geraldine does want to go to Florida. She doesn't like the cold in Missouri. I think the Florida weather has a lot to do with it. And of course, I'm a beach person, so I would like that as well. Even if moving to another state, we still have to fight. You're absolutely right, Marcia. And you can, and I think that's important. And I was very, very strong about this in the early days, and everyone has to make a decision that's right for them. And if you believe that it's right for you to move to another state because you're going to be safe, more prosperous, closer to family, you'll be able to fight more vehemently because you'll have the wherewithal to do so, by all means do. Obviously, you don't need my permission. Do what is right for you. You can always keep fighting regardless of where you are. Goofy is working on an escape from communist Canada to New Hampshire. Are things better in New Hampshire? Let me know. Looking up, left Orange County in 1987 due to the cost of living way back then, and now is in Texas, but the property taxes went up 1,400%. That's crazy. Judy staying in Arizona. Okay. I just love hearing where everybody is going. Rent is ridiculously high. Cindy says, where is that, Cindy? Yes, we need to fight this from sea to shining sea. They're back with the suffocation devices in Northern California. Okay, Leah says something. Leah, I want to talk about your comment here. She says, I think they are driving us to move to certain states, and then they are going to weather those states and create more storms. Very, very interesting. Stick with me, friends. I'm going to hop. Well, actually, let me tell you one more thing. I did want to tell everybody about the sponsor of today's video. I didn't get a chance to go over there. So let me just bring you real quick over. It's kind of on our topic right now. And this is preparewithpeggy.com. So regardless of where you live, I want you to go to preparewithpeggy.com if you need to still get your my favorite food kits. So I've got the 3-month emergency food supply, and you can save $150. It lasts for up to 25 years. I've said before, I don't normally eat pancakes and rice and macaroni and cheese, but if I'm starving and the food supply is cut off, or there is a storm and I can't get to the grocery store, I will have peace of mind, and It's a type of food insurance. So I invested in this, and I also believe it is an investment with money that will pay off. You may want to have this as a barter item down the road. So I don't want you to miss out on the save $150 on the 3-month emergency food supply. Go to preparewithpeggy.com. I have this, everyone in my entire family has this, and I hope that you will too. Preparewithpeggy.com. Friends, I want to hop right back on with you because I do have one other topic, and I like to keep the topics separate so that the titles of the video will be very clear. And I do want to talk to you about this idea that possibly having people move out of certain states is a trap. I just started thinking about this. It's so interesting that Leah mentioned it. So stick with me because I would love to have your ideas on that. So I'll be back with you in just a couple of minutes, and then we'll wrap up this week and our Friday evening with another, let's say, about a 10-minute discussion on, could moving to a certain state actually be a trap? I would love to hear your thoughts on that. I'll be right back with you, everybody. Big shout out to the moderators and all my lovely, healthy Americans. I've got the best audience on YouTube. That's why I'm here. We support each other. You guys are smart, savvy, and a little snarky, just like I am, just the way I like it. All right. See you soon, everybody.